Hey, think like a free man. We're out here at the range again. We're going to be doing a sight-in and an accuracy test, and I'll call it a range test on a couple rifles. And the reason I say it's a range test because these are hunting rifles as opposed to tactical rifles. And what we're going to be using is what we're going to be shooting is a 243 Winchester and a 30-06 with one of the other free men.
What we're doing today is we're gonna take my Smith Wesson Model 1500 243. We're gonna sight it a little bit of a field test today. First at 25 yards to make sure we're close, and then push it out to 100 for the final sight in. But it's, as I mentioned, Model 1500 243. I've been hunting with this almost my whole hunting life since 16. And the optics we're using is the same scope I've been using for many years as well. It's a Tasco 4 to 12 power optic setup. Three in the magazine and one in the chamber.
So we were about an inch low at 25, and it's interesting, that first shot was so far down to the right, we didn't change a thing. There just must have been a bunch of gunk in the barrel, so we kind of blew that out. One could argue we should have cleaned it, but we didn't. So we're going to go out to 100. Okay, here we are at 100 yards, and all those shots, except maybe that one on the left, are essentially touching the bullseye. So that's about an inch, a little over an inch from the furthest two, and who knows if we pulled it a little bit, but pretty good.
Pretty happy with those results for the first time out with that weapon in quite a while, about a year and a half now almost.
What we're going to do now is we're going to mimic worst case field conditions that we'd expect by shooting at 100 yards, standing, no rest, nothing to lean on, just a standing free shot. You're on the right, right? That's a nice shot.
Right target.
That's a nice shot. Okay, not a bad shot considering the circumstances. A little bit more of a spread than we would like at 100 yards for what we'd consider a humane kill, so we're going to try a leaning shot and see what we can do. Okay, that one still had a bit of variability to it. All right, we're out at back at 100 yards trying a different shooting position.
Hold that one way left.
So we're out here at 100 yards after doing the standing, freestanding, and seated, and we're not seeing a whole lot of difference. Actually, the seated was less accurate than the standing. That could, you just get tired after a while. So it gives I think that's what, about a 1 foot target. So it's hitting in about, most of those shots are in about an 8 to 9 inch circle, to give an idea of the capability.
Yeah, it's larger group than I'd like, especially going from a standing to a seated position. Gonna have to do a little bit more time on the range, honing it in.
The other option too is just to say, okay, if we took that into 50 yards, that would be a 4 to 6 inch group at the most. You can say you're completely comfortable out to 50, maybe 60 yards, and a little bit more practice to get out to 100.
Back here again today with another one of my hunting rifles. It's a Smith Wesson Model 1500, chambered in 30-06. Same exact model as the 243 that you'll be seeing. Different optics. It's another Tasco, but it's a 3 to 9 power. Once again, we're going to be shooting at 25 yards to start. Make sure we're on the ballpark, and then we're going to push it out to 100 yards for the final sighting. Gotta load one in.
Good heavens, that's loud. That looked like a pretty good shot.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one more.
Good heavens, that's loud.
So it was on.
It was on. We gacked it up. We were shooting with the wrong ammo.
That's alright.
That's a good lesson learned.
It's good to know how they behave, though.
Yeah, yeah. So the 180 grain ammo hits, what was it, high or low?
High.
Hits higher.
Or
did we? The ballistic tip hit 3 inches higher than the 168 grain. I would have thought it would have been the other way around.
You're correct. The ballistic 168 grain hits about 3 inches higher than the 180 grain.
Oh, okay. It was okay. So the lighter round hits higher.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. So after we weren't paying attention and zeroed with the wrong ammo, we're going to re-zero to the ballistic tip ammo and take another shot and make sure we're on.
This ammo's too expensive just to be sticking around.
Yeah, I'm. That rifle was dead.
But what I do want to do is take this back down to center with this round.
Yes.
And then fire one, and I'll be convinced that it's.
So you want it down 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep, perfect. Actually, let me right back.
All right. Sweet mother of pearl, I'm all the way back here and the muzzle blast is still terrific.
There we go.
I'd say that rifle's sighted.
I'd say so too.
So we got comfortable with the 30-06. Now the other free man's going to actually mimic how he thinks he's going to shoot in the field with one hand resting, and see what kind of accuracy he can get to give him the confidence. See if he's better with this rifle than the 30-06 or than the 243. Not too bad. Anytime. Not too bad. You want to go down there?
Yeah.
We're out here at 100 yards. This actually looked pretty good. These are the shots I think we took from the bench, and these were the standing shots, I think.
I think that's the case as well.
Yeah, you got to be probably pretty happy with that. That's
pretty happy with
3 inches of center.
Yeah, more happy with that than I was with the 243, but also been shooting for probably an hour now, so a little bit more time getting comfortable.
So we'll get the 243 out before we leave?
Yes.
Shoot with a cold barrel, see what's what?
Yep.
All right. Okay. All right, I'm going hot.
The concussion is incredible.
It is just unbelievable. I'm going to go with another one.
You're right on the bowl.
Let's go take a look.
Shooting, Tex.
Thank you.
I think that third one you stuffed again. Woo!
Okay, so this was the 243 that we shot a couple minutes ago. Again, 1/2 inch MOA. Here's the 30-06. There's actually 2 shots about in the same hole, and it looked like I pulled that one off a little bit. But again, that's 1/2 inch MOA, and I'd say that's about as good as you can want or expect out of just a stock rifle. The ammunition is excellent, and so is the rifle.
These are the 2 weapons we fired here today at the range. Both similar in the fact that they're both Smith Wesson Model 1500s, one chambered in 243, the other in 30-06. This gun's really one of my favorite guns to shoot. It's sentimental value. I've had it as long as I can remember shooting, hunting. Same model, but this one has a little bit nicer aesthetics, a little bit of the better checkering, higher gloss finish. Functionality-wise, the cheek rest on here is a little bit nicer to shoot on, but other than that, the mechanics, the actions are all they're similar between the two. The 243 with the Tasco scope on it now, it's a 3-12. Seems like it's getting maybe a little bit cloudy. I've had that on as long as I can remember. A little bit cloudy, and the eye relief is seems like the tolerance is a little bit wider than I'd like. Thinking about switching out the optics on that piece right there. For the 30-06, the scope on that the Tasco. It's a 3 to 9 power, very clear. Still thinking about changing that out, perhaps for a little bit higher magnification, as the primary function for these is deer hunting and bear hunting. 30-06 more likely for the bear hunting, and we have shots anywhere up to anywhere from 100 to 150 yards, whereas the deer rifle is probably around 75 to 125 yards. But ultimately, rifles are very similar. Optics a little bit different, but two of my favorite hunting rifles that I own.
A bit of background on the Smith Wesson Model 1500. As best I could tell from just basic internet searches, the 1500 was made for Smith Wesson by a Japanese company called Howa in the mid to early 80s. There really wasn't a lot of information out there on the internet. I wouldn't consider this gospel, just what I found from quick searches, so consider it an FYI and definitely not gospel. But that's just a bit of background on the rifle. A few other post-range reflections on the rifle and the scope. Start with the trigger. The trigger pull was very crisp, but required more actuation force than what I would consider standard on a high-quality, modern, sporting or hunting rifle today. I didn't have a trigger gauge, but it was definitely a very stiff trigger. I think it could probably be adjusted. We just didn't look at the instructions and bother doing that. Now, we did prove that the rifles were half-inch MOA accurate. Even with that trigger and ordinary Tasco scopes with ordinary ammunition you can buy at Walmart. So, you know, with a bit of practice, we were able to get down to groups of about 3 inches or less standing or sitting, and probably could improve that in field conditions if we had shooting monopods, bipods, tripods that we could use in field applications. So this would, you know, really give us confidence for clean, humane kills out to 100, 125, maybe 150 yards. With a little practice, we could probably push that out, and if we were going prone position or we're using a rifle rest, again, we were sub-MOA accuracy. We could go hundreds of yards out with these rifles and be comfortable in their capability. So again, what we're trying to do with these tests on this channel and these gun reviews is to show what ordinary guys with ordinary equipment can do. And while it's nice to have matched triggers and matched barrels and high-end scopes, it's amazing what regular guys can do with regular equipment and a little bit of practice. So I hope you enjoyed this and learned something. Until next time, keep thinking like free men.